Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel, or if you're new here, welcome. My name is Steph. In today's video, I thought I would create my own kind of like book tag. I'm not sure what I'm going to call it yet, but if you see by the title of this video, that's probably what I've named it. I had so much fun. Last time I filmed a booktube newbie tag, and I was like, this is a really great video to kind of get to know a person and what they like to read and all that kind of stuff. And I'm going to answer 20 questions that I have curated myself, and I will put them in the description box if you'd like to tag along, no pun intended, and also do this tag. That would be awesome. So yeah, let's get right into it and answer these 20 romance book questions. Alrighty, so the first question I have here is, what is your most recent romance read? If I'm talking about the book I'm currently reading, it's People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry, but I am not finished that book. I am not even like 50% in. To be honest, I'm kind of in a bit of a reading slump at the moment. I did so good last month with reading a bunch of books, but this month I'm really slacking it because I'm in that slump. I was a little bit under the weather and I wasn't feeling too well, so I think that kind of put me in the headspace of not really wanting to read because I just couldn't focus. But yeah, so if we're talking about the book I'm currently reading, it's People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. But the last book that I have finished is Hook, Line, and Sinker by Tessa Vick. The second question is, what romance book would you recommend to someone who is just getting into the genre? I guess for this one, I would kind of just pick ones that I've really enjoyed and that I think will keep people interested if they're just trying to branch out and get into the romance genre. And honestly, the books that I would pick that I loved the most would probably be basically anything by Colleen Hoover, but more so if they're getting into romance but they don't want spice, I think I would recommend Heartbones by Colleen Hoover. For some more spicier books that I think would really like keep people interested and really kind of get them into the romance genre would probably be Archer's Voice by Mia Sheridan, The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood, and maybe like for a series, for maybe, you know, some YA books, I would say the Summer I Turned Pretty series is a pretty great start to romance. So those are a few that I'd recommend. Number 3, an underrated romance book you wish had more hype. Honestly, this is going to be a Colleen Hoover book that I'm going to mention, and Colleen Hoover gets a lot of hype, and I mean, there's every reason why. She is one of my fave authors, but I feel like Maybe Someday, which is actually one of my favorite Colleen Hoover books that I've read so far, is one of the books that she has that doesn't really get that much hype. I think maybe because people don't pick it up because maybe the cover is not super, you know, popular, and, you know, most people go for what the, you know, the cover looks like to pick up a book. So I think maybe that could be the reason, but I definitely think that that one is a must read, and I really enjoyed it. It's one of her like earlier ones, and it's part of a series, but you can read just the first one, which is Maybe Someday, as a standalone. You don't have to continue on, and yeah, I think that one's pretty underrated, and I really loved that book. Number 4, an author who you will auto buy their books. So if you're not knowing what I'm meaning by this, like an author that you love so much that anytime they come out with a new release, you're like, yep, add that to the cart, I'm buying it. And it doesn't even you don't even have to worry about what it's about, because you know you're just gonna love it because you love that author and you've loved everything you have read so far. Probably the same answer that I've said for the last one. It's Colleen Hoover. She's my favorite author, and I think I have like 11 or 12 of her books now, and I've loved every single one of them that I have read. Another book author I feel like I would pick up books regardless of is Christina Lauren. I really enjoy her books as well. Well, their books, I guess, because it's 2 authors. Number 5 is your fave romance author. Like I said, Colleen Hoover. Another author that I'm really enjoying is Penelope Ward. She writes more spicier books, but I really do enjoy her books as well. The author that you have the most romance books by. So there's quite a few, I guess. The top one obviously being Colleen Hoover. I would say besides her, I have a lot of Christina Lauren books. And another author is Jasmine Guillory. I have quite a few of her books as well. Haven't read any of them, but they just have the most cutest covers and they sound really good on the back, so I've picked up quite a few of them. I'm hoping to get to some of them this summer. Number 7. What is your favorite romance book you have read so far this year? Honestly, I have to say, going by what has most stuck with me, and I feel like I think about these books really often, I'd have to say The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood and also The Deal by Elle Kennedy. I just really liked the storylines of those two books. I loved the romance aspect of it. I loved the characters in the books. So those two I think about often, and therefore I'm going to probably rate those ones the best ones that I've read this year. Your fave booktuber to find recommendations from. Honestly, the very first booktuber that I started watching is Steph Boyer, and we actually happen to have the same name, and that is not why I decided to watch her videos. I just happened to come along one of her videos, and she reads a lot of the same books that I'm interested in. Some books she reads that maybe are not totally piquing my interest, but a lot of the stuff that she does read ends up going on my TBR list, and the recommendations and videos that she does, I'm always watching her videos regardless of what they are. Your fave book couple. I'm gonna say my fave book couple. I really liked, again, the Love Hypothesis couple, but also I really liked the Hating Game couple. I just liked how caring he was for her, even though they were kind of like enemies to lovers. I feel like underneath it all, they always had feelings towards each other, and they're always like really sweet towards each other. So yeah, I think those two couples. Also, I would say Garrett and Hannah from The Deal. I really loved their relationship as well, and I honestly can't tell you why I remember the names from those two and not the other books. I think The Love Hypothesis is Olive and Adam, and I think the way you can tell how much I love a couple is I remember their names, because I'm very bad at remembering names from books. Even if I have just read a book, I can't tell you the characters' names. I forget them like that quick. Number 10, the most spiciest book you've read to date. I haven't read like any like crazy spicy books. One that I can think of that I read recently is Credence by Penelope Douglas. If you don't know too much about that book, basically it's a girl, her parents pass away, so she goes to live with her step uncle and her two step cousins. Basically, she ends up sleeping with all of them. It was definitely very spicy, and I don't know if that's a spoiler, because honestly I've seen that in all of the videos that people have recommended that book. They have said that. Yeah, it's one of those books where if you want a little bit more in depth, I did a reading wrap up in May where I talked about when I read that book, and I just felt like it was super spicy and not what I expected at all going into the book. So yeah, I would say that's my most spiciest book. Number 11 is your fave trope. And honestly, I would say like, I feel like I can't just pick one. I have a video actually on all of my favorite tropes and tropes that I don't love so much. If you want to go check that video out as well. But I think I would say I love books with fake dating in it. If a book is advertised as a fake dating book, I automatically pick it up. It is one of my favorite tropes. Also like Brother's Best Friend. I also really like small town romances. Definitely like enemies to lovers. But yeah, I think maybe one of my favorite tropes is fake dating. I just love that build up and that kind of like, is he actually doing that because he likes me, or is she doing that because he likes me, or are we just playing along kind of thing? And then the moment that they realize that they're not pretending anymore, I love books like that. 12, pick your top fave romance covers. Okay, this one's hard. I am a very cover drawn person, and I love book covers that have animated, like, you know, like the little characters and things like that on it. Ones that are coming to my mind, I'm gonna say Heartbones by Colleen Hoover. I love that cover, like the skulls and the flowers. Definitely the cover drew me to that book. The next book I'm gonna say, oh, this is so hard. I'm just gonna go off of the ones that I have on my shelf, I would say. I'm gonna go with Reminders of Him by Colleen Hoover. I really like the colors in that book. I think it's super pretty. Another one I have on my shelf that I really like is The Dating Plan. I just love the purple in that book. I just think it's so eye-catching. It's a really pretty cover. Again, with the characters on the front. I'm gonna go with the classic one. I'm gonna say The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren. Definitely one of the covers that you see all of the time, and it's super pretty with like the palm leaves and all that stuff on it. Oh, I need to pick one more book. Honestly, I'm gonna go with, I think, the book Fat Chance Charlie Vega. I really love the cover of that book. I didn't love that book, but I really liked the cover, and it's definitely the reason why I picked up the book. I did read the synopsis before I decided to purchase it, but I was definitely very drawn to the cover, and it's just like a nice, like peachy color, but like a really pretty animated girl on the front, and I really love that cover. Number 13, what is your least favorite romance trope? I'd have to say like books with like kids in it. I don't love like, you know, like accidental pregnancy and stuff like that, and I'm more so interested in books like when they first meet, and then maybe if like later on in the book they decide to have a kid, or like in the epilogue they have a kid, or if it's a series and it continues on, that then it shows like their life after and deciding to like get pregnant or things like that. But I like the first initial meeting up sort of thing, rather than like single parent or basically just having kids in the relationship in general. I just enjoy the build up and the carrying on with the romance to leading to that. So yeah, I guess that's what I would say. Number 14, a book that you still like though it had your least favorite trope. I'm gonna say for this one, I'm trying to think of the name of the book. I think it's called The Anti-Boyfriend by Penelope Ward. If I'm wrong, I'll pop a picture on the screen of the book anyways. I have it written in my journal which one it is. But this book had, the main character was a single mom, and she lived next door to her love interest in the book, and they just became friends at first and kind of hung out. He would come over to the house, and he knew she was a single mom, and he would just help, you know, be like, hey, like, can I get you a coffee? Can I pick you up something? I know it must be hard being a single mom and not being able to get out of the house. And, you know, he would come over and he would sometimes just hold her kid for her, and basically he ended up being like the one that could only like calm her down and make her stop crying. And basically the plot of the book really evolved around her little girl, and I loved that. And I was surprised because I didn't know going into it that it was a book about a single parent, but I loved that aspect of that book. So I definitely think that is one book that I've really enjoyed that has had like a kid in it, or like a single parent trope, that kind of thing. Your fave book that you've read that's been turned into a TV show or a movie, or is going to be turned into a TV show or movie. I'm gonna say right now that I can think of, probably The Hating Game by Sally Thorne. I loved that book. I rated it 5 stars. I thought the movie was cute, but I didn't love the way that it turned out into the movie. I think there was a lot of things that were missed, and I feel like it was cute to watch, but I feel like it just didn't translate from what I loved in the book to the screen. Book that I'm really excited to be turned into a movie is It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. I've seen the fan casting that people have said for it, that book, and I am just so excited to see if the characters that I pictured become the characters that they cast for the movie. Another book that was actually just announced that is going to be becoming a movie is It Happened One Summer by Tessa Bailey. I gave that one 5 stars as well. I really loved that book. I actually just read that recently, and it just found out that it was becoming a movie, so I'm really excited to see that one and see who they cast as the characters, because it just feels so great when the person that you pictured to be the character in your mind while reading becomes the character you see on screen. So yeah, I'm excited to see who they cast. Number 16, a romance book that you related to the main character the most. I don't know if there's one that's like I completely related to. I'm kind of thinking of one that I felt like I saw myself in as like when I was younger and when I was in school, and I think that's Fat Chance Charlie Vega. She was very like self-conscious about her body and, you know, accepting herself before, you know, accepting others, and I feel like that kind of reminded me of when I was in school and I was very insecure and, you know, very shy, and just felt like people didn't accept me and wouldn't accept me by the way that I looked. So I definitely feel like I related to that character in those aspects. I did really like the book for the reason that I saw myself in that book. I think I gave that book 3 stars or 3.5 stars possibly. I did like it, but it was definitely a younger read, and I felt like there wasn't enough character development through like the relationship, like character development themselves. I saw a lot about them, but like sort of the relationship development kind of just wasn't there for me fully. Like I didn't love how things went through the romance aspect of it, but I loved the characters themselves. Number 17, a book that you couldn't put down or that you read in one day. This book I would say is the most recent one was Archer's Voice by Mia Sheridan. I started reading that one and I felt like it was a little bit slow in the beginning, but everyone was saying it was so good and I had to pick it up. So definitely that one, I couldn't stop reading it. Once I got to, you know, the most interesting parts, I just read all the way through, and I think I read that one in like half a day, as well as The Love Hypothesis. I didn't read that one in a full day because I did have to work that day, but I started reading it and it was all I thought about while I was working, which was really bad. I just kept thinking about that book and I couldn't wait till I got on my lunch break, so I had a whole hour that I could read the book. And when I got home, I ended up finishing the whole book before I went to bed. I stayed up really late. Yeah, I really enjoyed that book, and I feel like that's when you know it's a good book, when you can't put it down, or when that like you are in the middle of the book or you've read so much of it and that's all you think about until you can get back to that book again. That's how I felt about The Love Hypothesis, and I think that's why it's really stuck with me and I really enjoyed that book. Number 18, an author you've read their books back to back. So this one is kind of like, you know, you picked up the author's book and you're like, oh, this one's really good, I'm just gonna continue reading her book or his book. I did that with Colleen Hoover, obviously. I read like 4 or 5 of her books back to back, and I was just on a Colleen Hoover kick and I was just reading a whole bunch of her books. I also did that with Penelope Ward. I had read one of her books that I own on paperback that I had seen somebody had recommended here on BookTube. It was called Dirty Letters, and I read that one. I really enjoyed it, and then I kind of forgot about her in a bit, and started reading some other things. Then I came back to reading another one of her books. I think I read Stepbrother Dearest and loved that book. So I ended up reading like 5 of her books back to back, and I just kept reading and reading and reading, and I loved them. And then me and my sister ended up reading a book together, and that is what cut me off from it and was like, okay, I'm going to go read something else. But I definitely want to go back and read more of the books that she has written. So yeah, I think those are 2 authors that I've just read, you know, back to back their books continuously and just really, really enjoyed them. Number 19, a book you saw everywhere and had to buy. I'm going to say also Archer's Voice, because I'm really influenced by popular books. That one was a more recent one that I have read. Another one that I have currently actually just got from the post office the other day, which will be in a haul coming soon, I haven't opened it yet, is Every Summer After by Carly Fortune. I have seen that everywhere and I really want to read that this summer, and decided it was on sale. I'm going to get it in paperback rather than reading it on my phone. So yeah, that one there I've seen everywhere, and I was just like, I have to get it. I have to see what it's all about. And 20 is your most anticipated romance books of this year. So these could be books that you're excited about that are coming out this year, or books that you haven't read that you're excited to read this year. I'm gonna say Every Summer After by Carly Fortune that I just mentioned, because I am really excited to read that one. Also, I'm gonna say the Bridgerton series. They obviously didn't come out this year, but I'm really excited to get to those, and I just hauled a few of them, so I really want to read those. Some ones that haven't been released yet, I think it's called Love on the Brain, I'm not positive, by Ali Hazelwood. I loved The Love Hypothesis so much that I'm really excited for when that one comes out. Also, It Starts With Us by Colleen Hoover. Really, really excited for that book to come out. I definitely need to pre-order it. I don't know why I haven't yet. That one is definitely top of my list for when it comes out. Also, one that I really want to read that came out recently is Book Lovers by Emily Henry. Alrighty everyone, that is the end of this 20 question tag that I've created. I encourage people who are watching to tag along and also do the tag, answer the questions, create your own video, or you can even leave a comment down below and answer some of the questions yourself. I'm sure some people were thinking about answers for each question as I was going along. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, and happy reading. Bye.